The first thing I think that's important for a mentor is to have been mentored well. And I think that once you have been well mentored, you appreciate just how much of a change you can make in a career, pretty much at any stage of your career, but particularly when you're starting out. And so having mentorship as something that you value personally certainly makes it more worthwhile when you are involved in helping others as well. The second thing I have found a good quality for a mentor to have is to truly want other people to succeed. So it's very important that the mentor have sort of an open heart to really wanting the person with whom they're working to do well, to succeed. It's distasteful when someone says, I've taught you everything you know, but I've not taught you everything I know, because I always want to be superior to you. And that is not the way this works. What works is when you truly want that person to actualize all of their potential to reach the goals that they wish to have. The third thing I thought of was, it's good to have a long memory. It's really good to remember your previous stages of career. And it's easy when you're a little more senior to lose track of that. One of the things I do is I save all my old CVs. And I will go back and look at a CV that was mine when I was 10 years out. And I would recall how proud I was of that CV and what I'd accomplished. But it's a good memory jogger for the things I was experiencing. I could recall how old my kids were. I could recall maybe where I was practicing and what I thought was important at that time. So I think you really have to have a long memory and be able to go back in time and remember what life was like for you. So much easier to be empathic in that situation. I think the fourth thing that came to mind was being able to accept your mentee where he or she is at that time. And rather, this is not therapy, so I'm not responsible for their lives from a therapeutic point of view, ethically and legally. And it's not supervision, because I'm not really supervising their cases. I'm not responsible for them in that respect and their cases. This is really a situation where I need to know through active listening, where are you and what do you want to do? And I frequently will tell people, I don't care what you do. I just want to know what it is that you want to do and how we can get you to where you want to go. It doesn't matter to me whether you're going to go in private practice, academic career, it's entirely up to you. But once you tell me that, then I can tell you whether or not I'm the person you should be even talking to about that. Maybe I'm not the one you should be talking to. Maybe I don't know enough about it. And you have to have shoulders broad enough to be able to say, I'm sorry, that's not a pitch I can hit. You know, you really need to talk to somebody else about that rather than being all things to all people. I think it's very important to also be able to give almost painfully honest insight. And that's number 5, and it sort of attaches to number 6. And number 6 is, don't just tell a mentee what you have done well. Tell them what you've screwed up too. Tell them what has not worked out well. Tell them the mistakes you've made. It's very similar to what we do in Valent Group when you talk about, this is a problem I misunderstood, or this is something that I really didn't do well. People learn as much by having you give honest recitations or descriptions of things that you've not done well, because it helps them not only feel more comfortable about not being correct all the time, but also they understand that you survive these kinds of mistakes. You're still able to get up in the morning and do your job even though you've made these mistakes. Along those lines, number 7 for me was to be able to use anecdotes, personal anecdotes, and be a good storyteller. Because people learn best, I think, when they hear stories rather than some sort of dictate or a lecture. It's better when you're able to say, let me tell you about what happened when I got into a situation with litigation with a patient, and I didn't see the train coming before it hit me, and here's what happened to me because I didn't have my radar on. I think that lasts with people more, makes it a more human kind of interaction as well. There's different buckets of, in terms of number 8, you're dealing with the transmission of knowledge. Here's what I know for sure. Here's what I think you need to know. You need to put this into your quiver of arrows that you are able to work with. But also you're sharing expertise. You're sharing accumulated skills, if you will. And I like to think of it oftentimes as career lore. So it's not so much something you'd find in a book, because if they could read the book, they just read the mentoring book. But a mentor should really be someone that not only tells you which of the restaurants got 5 stars, but which ones you had a really great experience in that weren't rated. So you're kind of telling them, almost like you would someone, a stranger to a city, what should I do here that's really fun that won't cost me much? It's not going to be in the guidebooks, but you can tell them, this is what I do, this is what I have done. You may want to consider this as a possibility. Doesn't mean you have to do it just because I did it, but here are the different issues that you may want to consider. So the 9th I thought of was, you're acting sort of as a guide to some degree, but you're also more than the knowledge base, the information. There's a certain need for motivation and for, to some degree, support and what I like to call cheerleading, because you really have to be on their side. You have to be on their team. You have to be behind them. They decide which way the rudder is going to turn and which way the winds are blowing the sails, but you're the one that helps them trim the sails appropriately to get to whatever destination they're going to. So it's important to remember, you are not the captain of the ship, you're crew, and you're helping them to get where they want to go, but you're not grabbing the rudder and saying, no, you're not going this way, you're going that way. So it doesn't have that kind of relationship. And finally, I think the 10th is that sometimes you have to do stuff for them. You have to pick up the phone and you have to call somebody and you just say, listen, I'm curious as to whether you could give me some insight about whether anybody's hiring in this particular area, or can you tell me, I've got a lot of contacts and I really like to use those contacts on behalf of the person I'm a mentorship relationship with, because I think you do that for friends, you do it for someone that you're hoping to help down the road. You simply make good use of your contacts if you possibly can. And the summary is the Greek word minos means minos in Greek means mental strength. And what you're doing is you're giving people, as a mentor, you're giving them mental strength. You're helping to kind of starch them in a way so that they can make good decisions. And this has been going on for 3,000 years. When Odysseus was in the Trojan Wars and he went away for 20 years, he was very worried about his son and who would take care of him. So he asked the best friend of his father, mentor, to take care of his son while he was away at war. And that's how the phrase got started. So 3,000 years later, we're still talking about it.